to the MarcWes Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the MarcWes Sports Podcast. I'm Marcus Benjamin. He's Wesley Pierre. We give you that real sports talk from a South Florida perspective.
Always.
Yeah. So, Wes, how you feeling this week, man? Last week was a sad week, for Miami Heat fans, but I feel like we're rejoicing this week. How you feeling?
No, I'm definitely rejoicing right now. I'm feeling good right now. Of course, I got the little one on the way. A few weeks from arrival. But definitely, I definitely got an early gift the other day when LeBron James actually was eliminated for the first time in the first round in his career. And mind you, I know there was a few podcasts before where you was kind of giving me some slack, and you're like, hold up, I know he's a LeBron hater like myself, and I was giving him big ups and big props, at that particular episode. So right now you got the old West, he's back in full effect, and yeah, I'm definitely rejoicing and happy about LeBron James losing in the first round, because again, I think cynical. I think about the Miami Heat. Now niggas can't motherfucking talk shit about the Miami Heat losing in the first round to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now you got someone that they consider the GOAT, and King James, LeBron James, getting eliminated also in the first round. Yeah, you didn't get swept like the Miami Heat, but you lost 2 games, and you was of your caliber, you of your legacy, you that I know are meticulous in how you actually move. For you losing in the first round, I really feel good about that, because now the conversation is not the Miami Heat, Pat Riley, making wrong moves supposedly. It's back to LeBron James losing for the first time in history, his history, in the first round. So me, I'm definitely grateful and happy about that. Before we actually seen that loss, me, Chris, and Marcus actually did text each other and said, just pray that LeBron James lose right now. And our prayers were actually answered, and he actually lost. So I feel good about that. What you feel about that actual loss from LeBron James in the first round?
First of all, I want to say I told y'all, I told y'all this would happen. I told y'all I didn't see it. When I saw that play-in game with Steph Curry and them, and Steph Curry was playing with a bunch of bums trying to will his team to win, and they barely beat them. So from that game, I was just like, nah, I do not see this team moving forward. And thankfully, Chris Paul, our boy, came back from injury, because he's usually injured in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's for real.
He came back, thankfully, and saved the Suns, because Devin Booker is a great player, but can't do it by himself. To me, he's not a leader. He's one of those players that are a great scorer, but he can't lead a team. So that's why Chris Paul was in contention for the MVP this year, because he's a great leader. Yes. And they needed their leader back on the court. And when he came back on the court, it was a different story. All of a sudden, the Lakers, can't do anything defensively. AD had to do too much. And what happens? He injures himself again. AD is like, I call OBJ Old Broken J, because he's always getting injured. Now I think I'm going to call Anthony Davis Anthony Broken Davis, because he's always getting injured, and it's not even playoff time. Sometimes it's during the whole season. And I was saying this last year. I was like, I don't think they're gonna last, because because AD is always injury prone, but somehow he pushed through last year. But this year, his injury bug revealed its ugly head once again. But the game and the Lakers being eliminated really talks about LeBron and his legacy to me. Like LeBron, people always say, well, some people, not on this show, but people say that he's the GOAT, whatever, he's the greatest of all time, or whatever. But I think he's a great player, top 10, maybe top 5, but as far as being the greatest, I don't see it. I don't think he's the greatest player of all time. And I think this is pretty much the end of his championship run. I don't really see him really winning another championship again, unless they get, somebody like, I don't know, a Dame Lillard on their team or something like that, or I don't know, one of these young big superstars now, like if they got a Jamal Murray or if they got a Luka or if they got a big young player like that, then they might have a chance. But if you're asking LeBron to carry a team like he was doing with the Heat, in our day, then it's not happening because dude is slow, bro. He's slow. Did you see this dude trying to play defense or try to rebound? No, you didn't see none of that. You just saw him try to do some passes here and there. And if he was open, he would try for the three. Sometimes he would make it. He's iffy on the shot. And he was pretty much kind of a non-factor. And that's kind of the reality that I got from the Lakers. And I'm happy, just like everybody else on this podcast,
Yes.
that the LeBron James uh run, I feel, is finally coming to an end.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, going back to what you were saying about AD, we know AD is known for someone that is always broken in the league. I mean, when you're fully healthy, you're always dominant. You're like a Bosch 2.0, because you're a little bigger than Bosch, but you do everything that Bosch does. I think Bosch is a little quicker than you, a little more agile. But when you come to the NBA, you do want someone that has a little bit of size on him: point guard, shooting guard, power forward, small forward. And of course, when you talk about the center. But again, I'm definitely happy about that. Everything that I've seen in the NBA right now. Of course, you got LeBron James, not looking himself. It's kind of, for me, I was happy and I was sad at the same time, because of course, that his career is coming to an end. I think he got probably 2 more years in him. I do really want him to probably get one more, just so motherfuckers like Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless.
You want LeBron to get one more ring?
Yeah, I don't want KD to get it. I don't want Brooklyn to get it. I mean, for me right now, I really either think that Phoenix, Milwaukee, or LeBron James deserved it, And notice that I said LeBron James and not the Lakers. You know what I mean? I don't think the Lakers deserve it, but I think LeBron James deserves it because, I mean, I do remember him being in the Miami Heat. I mean, the only thing that I do kind of hate is how he did us in the end. But I do think that he is a smart player. I think he's one of the greatest players of all time, overall players of all time. I don't think he's the GOAT, but if you're talking about GOAT of the game, you probably can call him that because Jordan, was not the best teammate. LeBron is. Jordan, is not a big physical guy. LeBron is. It's a lot of things that I'm saying right now. It's seeming like the old West of the old podcast is rearing his ugly head right now, saluting LeBron James. But for me, it just was weird to see LeBron James lose for the first time. Especially not because of him, but because of the team. Yeah, the last game he didn't look as great. I think he shot for 14 for 26. And LeBron James, when he was with Miami, he was very efficient. If he shot the ball 15 times, he made it. If he shot it 16 times, he made it 13 out of 16. Same thing with Bosh and Wade and stuff like that. It just goes back for me when it comes to karma. Him saying that AD was the best player that he had as a co-host, as a co-partner, as a teammate. And we know that Dwayne Wade. Even though I don't feel his whole lifestyle right now, we know that Dwayne Wade, when he was in the league, was the best guy tandem that LeBron James had. And if you're talking about Chris Bosh and AD, I really would go with Chris Bosh because I think Chris Bosh is a little bit smarter. Chris Bosh is a little bit more of a team player. Not saying that AD is not a team player, but he's not a leader. Bosh is a leader. Without Wade, without LeBron James, Bosh was the leader of the Miami Heat. That's when we had Whiteside, and he did his thing. So going back to LeBron James and going back to AD, AD, that person that everyone knows that's injury prone, going back to CP3 that everybody knows is injury prone. But when you have a big man and you gave us so many assets to have this person in the playoff and he's gone, it's a problem. I think Devin Booker and the rest of the Phoenix Suns probably would have still probably eliminated LeBron James if Chris Paul was not on the team, because they got an overall good squad. You got a lot of shooters. You got a lot of people that put their body on the line for the game. And when you got the Lakers, you got AD taking when he got traded. They traded a lot of people. They traded Julius Randle, someone that was in the New York Knicks that I think that probably would have helped him out, even though he didn't do good in the playoffs this year. He would have been a upgrade. You got Kuzma, someone that they kept on the team, and he didn't show up. You got a lot of people. Schroeder didn't show up. It just was like a disappointment. It shows about the head coach. The head coach, didn't make a lot of different changes on defense. You could have easily played zone and done a little better with that team. But again, even if you would have played zone, that team was full of shooters. You had Chris Paul wet and shit. You had Booker wet and shit. You had Anton getting the rebounds and doing his thing. And you had Payne doing his thing, and he was definitely giving the Lakers some pain all over the court, as far as with leadership, knowing that he's not the leader, as far as with shooters, knowing that he's not the first or even the second guy to take the shot. It's just like what I seen with them on Miami Heat, like a real team that was built for the playoffs right now. And not just that, I look at it like the Miami Heat and the Lakers really did feel the effects of the bubble, because it was like a run-on sentence. It was like they didn't get a break to like calm down, not calm down, but calm down, recompress themselves, get accustomed to just like healing your body. And we didn't have that. I don't want to make that as an excuse, but you had the Godfather Pat Riley said, Miami Heat needs some downtime right now. They need some time to sit back and relax. The Lakers, when LeBron James lost, notice I'm keep saying the LeBron James and not the Lakers, because we know that LeBron James can yield a team to go to the finals. We've seen what he did with the Cavaliers in his heyday when he was younger. You've seen what he did to the Golden State Warriors before they had Kevin Durant. He beat them by himself because Kevin Love was injured and I think Kyrie was injured. So again, of course, we know I'm a LeBron hater, but I am going to go ahead and say that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get on the MarcWes Sport Podcast. Somebody like myself that don't like LeBron James, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the facts. And these are all the facts, I think that we all was fatigued. It just seemed like we weren't where we needed to be mentally, physically, and emotionally this whole playoffs and this whole season.
Yeah, I totally agree with the whole fatigue factor with the bubble. I mean, look, the two teams that made the finals last year got bounced out in the first round. So I think fatigue is definitely a factor. But the thing I will say this about LeBron. LeBron is, like I said, one of the best players of all time. That's not a debate. He is one of the best players of all time. But to me, he's not a dog. He's not a person who has that killer instinct or that killer mentality. He's not the one who you want really to take the last shot, although he has made big game shots or game winning shots, and he's had the ball in critical situations and has succeeded a lot of those times. But that's not his comfort zone. He would rather defer to someone else. You've seen him do that plenty of times within his career, defer to someone else in the big moment. That's why when he first came to the Heat, he was like, all right, Dwayne Wade is the dog on this team. He's the leader. I'm just going to defer to him. But Dwayne Wade at the time was still kind of going through a shoulder injury. He wasn't really his full self. Dwayne Wade had to change his trainer after LeBron left. And then that's why you saw this resurgence of Dwayne Wade afterwards. But LeBron LeBron loves to, I think I might call him LeBron now, wants to defer most of the time. To me, he's always been the best player that's actually the number two player, if that makes sense. You know, he's kind of a number two guy that, and AD to me is also kind of a number two. And they're so good that they can come together and win a championship, just like last year. But they really would benefit both of those players if they really had more of a dog player who's going to score, take a big shots. You know, you and I, Wes, we talked about after the podcast last time, we talked about 25 players that were better than Jimmy Butler. And, you know, that's really kind of the problem with the Heat. They don't really have a player because Jimmy Butler is really the same way. He's a number one that's actually a number two because he really would like to defer. He doesn't really want to take the big shot, but he's the best player. So he's kind of forced to take the big shot, but he'd rather defer to someone who is really a better shooter than he is because Jimmy Butler is a great player, but he's not the best shooter in the world, but he's better at everything else basically. So I think LeBron and AD and all these players, they're just a great number two. It's kind of weird to say that because LeBron, obviously he's number one because he's the best player on the team. But as far as that dog mentality and that killer instinct and all of that, especially now in the later part of his career where you can't even really do that, like how he did against Boston in game 6 that time, where he could really just take over a game. You hoped, if you're a LeBron fan, that you were going to get that in that game 6 versus the Suns, but you didn't see that because he's older now and he's kind of recovering from an injury. So yeah, so LeBron, unless he gets another dog player like a Damian Lillard. By the way, I don't know if you saw that Damian Lillard on that game against Denver. I think they ended up losing, but still, dude was making crazy shots, bro. Like contested 3-point shots, high pressure situation. He hit the shot to take them into overtime, then hit the shot again to take them to double overtime. And CJ McCollum over there just goofing, stepping out of bounds, he also, see, that Dame is the type of player who needs a solid number two, and he hasn't had one. CJ McCollum, he's all right, but he hasn't had a solid number two player because Dame is one of my favorite players, if not the player, but my favorite player in the league right now. He's just so fun to watch because he gives you 100% effort every time and hits these ridiculous shots in high pressure situations. He's not scared at a moment. And players like LeBron need a dog like that to succeed. And if he doesn't get that, like I said, I think his championship run is over.
So yeah, that definitely brings us to one of the topics that I wanted to talk about is loyalty, because we got Damian Lillard, one of the, I think, greatest players in the NBA right now. Same thing like what Marcus was saying, that's one of his favorite players right now, especially when you talk about the point guard. But he came out with this cryptic tweet, and you got to remember, he had some slack with one of the players in the NBA saying, you jump from team to team, to actually win. I'm not sure. I think it was Westbrook that he had a problem with at that particular time when he said bye when he gave the clutch shot at the end of the game, like the MJs and the Kobe Bryants. But he said, I'm not sure, I'm not going to try to quote him, but I think what I remember him saying is, how long do you want to be loyal? And that was like, for me, like icing on the cake,
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy to hear from Dame because, this is a dude obviously has been loyal to Portland for so long. Portland, Oregon too. Like Portland, Oregon is in the middle of freaking nowhere. It's the one major sports team in that state. And like, why would you, it's like one of the smallest markets. I don't think there's a lot of happening things to do in Portland. and he hasn't really got a lot of help, like I said before. So I'm surprised though, because he's always been kind of preaching loyalty this whole time. So for you to say that he said that, like, that's kind of crazy, man, because but at the same time, like, he's a great player, and he's getting to the point where people these days measure somebody's success with championships. And he's getting to the point. I mean, he's still relatively young. I don't know exactly how old he is, but I'm assuming like he's in his early 30s, or somewhere around there. And he's getting to the point where people are gonna be like, hey, you didn't win a championship. Oh, but you didn't win a championship. People always gonna say that. Oh, well, what about the championship? Well, who did he have on his team? CJ McCollum? You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's playing with the Lakers with AD, or he was playing with the big three back in the day. It's like, come on, like, how can you measure somebody's greatness? I think measuring somebody's greatness with championships is overblown and overrated to me. That's why I don't put Tom Brady as the GOAT, because especially with football, because football is a team sport. And there's an other side of the football, other side of the football where they're not on the field. He has nothing to do with defense. So I don't see how you can give a player like that, especially Tom Brady. But other sports like soccer and basketball, you can kind of take over a game, especially basketball. So I guess there's more onus put on, if you're great, then your greatness has to be coupled with a championship. But Dame saying that is like, that's big news. That's breaking news that you break into me, because I didn't hear that before. So I'm just like, wow. So where could Dame go? I mean, where I want him to go, because you already know. Because man, if we had Dame Lillard, come on, man, like, it'll be over. The game would be over, because Jimmy Butler wouldn't have to be that guy. He could just be himself, and then if Oladipo comes back healthy, you have another playmaker that can get into the paint and play defense. So man, like, that's a dream right now. And I feel like Wes is always putting these dreams in my head, trying to keep me excited and stuff. But that's an interesting tweet come from Dame, because Dame has been balling. Unfortunately, he was eliminated also this week by the Denver Nuggets. But another, you got anything to say on this, on Dame?
I mean, as far as with Dame, man, I love it, because everybody know Portland is not that market that's going to get you where you want to be. You could be loyal all you want, and they're not going to go ahead and give you that number two guy that you want, not because they're not trying, because nobody want to go to Portland. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody trying to go. It's just like when LeBron wanted to get Bosh and Wade to go to Cleveland. No, like, we're not going. We don't care that you're considered one of the greatest players of all time, or some people say the GOAT. Like, no, like, why would I leave Miami to go to Cleveland? Why would I, like, again? So thinking about Dame Lillard, it intrigued me. I really do think that would help out the Miami Heat. We think cynical over here, because it's day content everywhere. You see the background, you see Marcus, what his background is Miami, everything. So me, I was looking at it and thinking about it. I'm like, it does sound good with the Miami Heat, but I'm like, wouldn't you want Kawhi?
Yeah, I mean, Kawhi is a good choice as well. But the thing about Kawhi, sometimes
Injury.
he's passive, and he's injury. Not, I wouldn't say he's injury prone, but he is basically the catalyst of the maintenance program. He's the one that kind of really started this all. So for some reason, Kawhi, I don't feel like he's gonna give you 100% every game, but at the same, well, that's from what I see. But if he comes into the Heat culture, he ain't got no choice. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna have no choice. He's gonna have to give you 100%, or you're just gonna be miserable here.
Of course.
So yeah, I mean, Kawhi is the full package, because I don't know if you saw the game last night, Wes. I guess
Yeah,
Dallas.
he was doing his thing. Yeah.
I think he
Him.
scored like close to 50 points or something like that. So if he's forced, I feel like if he's forced into this situation where he has to take over, then he takes over and he becomes like the Terminator almost. It's like it's not he's not very exciting with his play, like he's very basic with he's not gonna wow you like a Dame is gonna wow you with these crazy shots, or Steph is gonna take these crazy type shots. They're gonna be like Dame, but his mid-range is crazy, and if you let him shoot the three, he's gonna hit it, and he plays arguably the best one-on-one defense in the league. He was a defensive player of the year. He's been a finals MVP twice. So
for himself.
So come on, man. Like, yeah, I mean, I personally would choose Dame because he's one of my personal favorite players.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, me too.
Kawhi might be the smarter choice.
See, but me, yeah, piggybacking of what you're saying right now, I really would want Dame, but I'm thinking about who we have at point guard. We got Nunn, who's a restricted free agent. We have Goran Dragic. We have Oladipo, which is injured, and I think we have the bird rights, but he's gonna be a restricted free agent also. So I'm like, if we get Dame Lillard, we're not signing Oladipo. That we're gonna give up on Dragic because Dragic is getting paid a certain amount of money. That Kendrick Nunn is not gonna go ahead and be back, and he's a real good player.
Nunn still would stay.
I think he would stay too, but if you're paying him Damian Lillard that type of money, there's not gonna really have that much time for Kendrick Nunn, because we do both like Kendrick Nunn. You like a hero a little bit more, but we both do like what he do on the court. He gives.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep him for sure.
But how are we gonna keep him? He's gonna want to go somewhere else where he's gonna get more playing time because his Damian Lillard is in front of him. Like, yo, what's gonna happen? Same thing with Dragic. We're gonna probably have to trade Dragic.
Dragic definitely would have to go.
He'll have to go. I think we're paying him like $15 million a year. And that go against everything that we're talking about, loyalty. You know what I'm saying? And I what we be screaming on this team, loyalty all the time. You feel me? We're loyal to everything Miami. So if they were loyal to us, how can we not be loyal back to them? That's my whole thing. But if you're talking about even what Kawhi Leonard, I think Damian Lillard works more, but it's gonna have to go against our loyalty. I think we bring Kawhi Leonard over here. Him and Jimmy Butler play the same position. So that's unless you're going to go ahead and put Jimmy Butler as the point guard because he like facilitating, he like doing this, that, and the other to get the rest of the guys around him. I don't see Kawhi playing the small forward.
Well, I don't see why not. I think you gotta interchange. You can interchange both of them because shooting guard and small forward are pretty much the same position. So you can play. I think both of them at those positions, and I think it could work.
And I agree. But remember, like, what's our biggest problem in the Miami Heat right now? We got Bam Adebayo playing center, and he was getting muscled by Brook Lopez. You know what I'm saying? It's not because Brook Lopez is a better player. He's a better shooter, but he's getting the rebounds. It's like if I want a small forward, I really want a small forward. I don't want a shooting guard. Maybe if we switch because of our defense. But I don't want to go ahead and have Kawhi playing shooting guard and Jimmy go to the three and he's playing small forward because even though we know Jimmy Butler's a defensive guru, he do his thing, he put everything on the table, he leaves it on the court. He's gonna be like a few feet shorter than the average person. And I'm not trying to deal with what we were dealing with last year in the bubble with AD. Like muscling Bam, but it's just Jimmy Butler now. I don't want to have to deal with same thing this year. Giannis and Brook Lopez doing the same thing to Bam Adebayo because he's smaller. But now it's the small forward because Jimmy Butler has to be pushed to the three, and he's smaller than that. Yeah, you may be athletically better than the small forward, but they're taller than you. So I just want things to match. And I think the only way that it shouldn't match is if we play our type of defense when we slip, or we switch. But I don't want to have to keep having us be smaller than the person that we actually are facing. So whichever one, I don't mind. I don't care. I want any one of them here. Everything's open for me. I don't care. Keep Bam, keep even though I don't think Bam deserved that money no more. Same thing like Julius Randle. He got that money, and both of them didn't show up in the playoffs, and both of them got all this money in the last offseason. So, I just really wanted to be like a real basketball team, because the teams that are advancing right now to the second round, guys are playing their position, and it's team basketball. We got the team basketball, but guys ain't playing their position. Bam used to be supposed to be a power forward, and you're playing the center. So unless we're gonna focus on the center, which I don't think that there's any centers like that can play this type of new school basketball where you're playing, unless you're a Brook Lopez. If we had Brook Lopez, I think that we would have did great. Bam playing the power forward, Brook Lopez, and the team that we had, we would have did at least made it to the second round. But still, I really do feel like any one of those would be good. But just know, if we get Damian Lillard, we're gonna have to trade because he signed under contract. And if we get Kawhi, he could opt out and be with the Miami Heat. I really want Dame more than Kawhi, but I wouldn't mind Kawhi neither. It's just going to be a whole lot of mismatches, and we're going to be smaller than normal. So that's how I feel on that topic. Matter of fact, speaking on that, former Heat player Jay Crowder, always loyalty. You feel me? Once you know that you're part of Miami, whatever animosity you have with other players that had problems with your Miami Heat, I'm going to always have that problem, even though I'm on another team. So, of course, that Jay Crowder and the Phoenix Suns, with Jimmy Butler and CP3, did wind up eliminating LeBron James out of the playoffs for the first time. But guess what, Marcus? You had Jay Crowder do the salsa, mocking LeBron James, got ejected out of the game. It was like 30 seconds left. I think the Lakers are losing over 10 points. And, Jay Crowder, same thing like all the previous games, is getting under LeBron James' skin. And, now, he's taunting LeBron James. I loved it. How you feel about someone, because, you had Jay Crowder, you had Trae Young taunting the New York Knicks fans.
Yeah, I like that.
Don't you like stuff like that? I don't want you to just play basketball. I want you to go ahead and mock people if you got to. You feel me? And you gotta, Jay Crowder did the right thing. He waited to know that we were in this game. There's no way, even if they call, give you 3 baskets, at the free throw line, it doesn't matter. You're still gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? So he chose the right and the perfect time to do it. And the crazy thing, he ran off the court like LeBron James be doing. Like the little.
I seen that.
Yeah, everything was like perfect for me.
Yeah. I mean, I love Jay Crowder. I mean, we already spoke on this podcast before that we said that he left because he really embodied this Heat culture. And I didn't even see the salsa dance part, but that's funny as hell.
Yeah, he did it. He did it.
The salsa in front of LeBron. I mean, that's good for him and LeBron, and because it's pretty easy. It seems pretty easy to get under his skin. And I love to see LeBron James, flustered like that. But yeah, I love that stuff. It's like when I'm playing somebody in anything, or in basketball or video game or in anything, like I want you to talk stuff, because I'm going to talk mine, and I don't want to feel bad about talking, so I want to have this back and forth,
exactly.
That makes it more fun, because if you're just going to sit there and be quiet, and if you beat me, or if I beat you, and we just going to be quiet and not going to talk smack to each other, then it's really no fun, so I think, the thing that Jay Crowder did, the thing Trae Young ended up, he did a bow to the Madison
And
Square
Bob.
Garden after he hit like one last shot in the elimination game, I thought was great. I feel like he's like the new Reggie Miller, which is great, because that's when the NBA was great too. When Reggie Miller and the Knicks were battling back and forth, it's just competitive fire that you love to see in sports, and anybody who doesn't like it doesn't really like sports, because come on, man, like a part of the greatness of sports is really just telling your opponent how bad you are or how great you are, so yeah, I love it, and I wish we saw more of it in sports.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I love the plain fact that Tom Brady went ahead and started a TikTok mocking the highlights of his career.
I seen
Going back to what we saying, we love these things, and of course we call him Tom Shady, but I'm happy to see these people out their shell right now.
Yeah, especially with Tom Brady. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I had to say, when he was like in this TikTok, he said, "Oh, this is a highlight of me forgetting fourth down," because he didn't really openly admit it until this moment on TikTok. But he was like, "Yeah, I thought this was the last play. Wasn't really the last play." And I was like, "Oh, wow, this is cool." Like, I feel like Tom Brady is finally letting his personality out. It's almost like Bill Belichik, the evil empire, the Palpatine of the NFL, was like holding his personality inside that Darth Vader helmet. It's like he was playing football with this Darth Vader helmet this whole time, and then all of a sudden he takes this off, goes to Tampa, wins a championship, and all of a sudden you see Anakin again. It's a totally different perspective, and yeah, I love the fact that Tom Brady is finally showing his personality. It kind of makes him likable, even though we still going to call you Tom Shady, because you still Tom Shady.
Yeah, Tom Shady was just letting his nuts hang for a little bit. That's what he was doing. Like, he was free balling for a second. But again, yeah, we love to see stuff like that. We love to see the back and forth. Like, we like to see it during the game, and we definitely like to see it after the game. I love to see it before the game too, because it definitely gives more animosity during the game. Anything can pop off when people talk shit before the game. But again, great things to see in sports right now. Of course, we have the New York Knicks that got eliminated. We had a few other teams that got eliminated in the first round. Of course, you have the Miami Heat, you got the Lakers, you got the New York Knicks.
So who are you rooting for now?
I'm rooting for, I really want CP3 to get a ring.
Me too, yeah.
I want him, because Giannis, you got time. You young, you got time to make a play. But I really feel like CP3, especially someone that we both feel like is injury prone, like AD, how can AD get a ring before CP3? Like, CP3, like, you need to have a ring. I want you to have a ring. And we got to give that mantle. LeBron got to pass the mantle eventually, because we both feel like he got maybe 2-3 years in him left. He can't play defense the way he once did. Now, again, he still can play defense. That's not what we're saying. But he's not as agile. His quickness is gone. He still have it sometimes. He still have the ups, But again, Father Time is undefeated. So, we know that CP3, someone that's known for having injuries, and at least LeBron James, if it was not for this ankle injury, he would be, indestructible. That's what we all see. He's like the Incredible Hulk. He never's injured or whatever like that, Same, so for me, I really do think and want the Phoenix Suns to win. I wouldn't mind Milwaukee winning, because, again, thinking about, you see that halo over my head, is thinking about the Miami Heat. I'm thinking well, if Milwaukee win, it won't really be no slack on the Miami Heat. They'll be like, well, they got eliminated from the champions. Same thing happened with the Spurs. They lost against the Miami Heat. The next year, they wind up doing the same thing that Milwaukee did to us a few years back. They just did it to LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Boston, and the rest of the tandem. So for me, I really want Phoenix or actually Milwaukee to actually win. And that'll be different because those are both small markets. You know, people don't normally look at those markets right now. So that could bring a lot of revenue to them cities. But again, that's what I really want to happen. I do not want Brooklyn to win nothing.
Yeah. That's a perfect transition to what I was going to transition to, because I totally agree. I like those two teams. If those two teams made it, I'd be pretty happy, especially with CP3 and battling with Giannis to see who's going to get their first ring. But the team I don't want to see, well, we already seen that the one team that we didn't want to see is eliminated in the Lakers. Mm-hmm. But the second team I don't want to see is the Brooklyn Nets. Like, I think I'm going to have more excitement seeing that team lose than seeing maybe Phoenix or Milwaukee win. I just don't want to see Brooklyn in the finals, just because I don't want teams that thinking they could do what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, put together 3 superstars and all of a sudden you're a contender or you're in the finals and you're winning championships. I don't want to see that happen. I just want us to be more so an anomaly. And, you know, I mean, other teams have done it. I mean, Celtics, they won 1 championship. They didn't win more than us, and they didn't go to the finals as much as us as well. The other super team you could say was Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Clay, which is just totally unfair, you know. Anyway, you know, when that happened, I was rooting for them to lose too.
Yeah, me too.
Like, come on, like this is too much. You got 3 of the best shooters of all time on the same team, and then you got Draymond Green as well. Like that was a crazy team to put together. And this one is also a good 3 superstars put together, but I don't want to see them win. They don't have this likable factor to them. They're in a market that, you know, is kind of like New Jersey didn't want you, so you had to go to Brooklyn, and the city of New York really doesn't want you because they all about the Knicks, you know. So I don't want to see them win at all. I mean, I know it's probably more exciting for the NBA to have those 3 superstars in the finals, and them against Chris Paul and them would be a good finals as far as competitiveness, but I do not want to see them in the finals. And I'm not sure exactly why or what the hate is behind it, but I mean, besides what I just explained with the, you know, comparing them to the Miami Heat's era, but that's not a team I want to see. So I'm going to be rooting for them to lose. They play game 1 today, I believe, against the Bucks, and I'll be rooting for the Bucks. So fear the deer. Let's go Bucks.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I definitely don't want the Brooklyn Nets to win nothing. You know, but you know, I do like what Kyrie Irving been talking about during his after game question and Q&As. You know, they would ask him about the NBA, and he would transition into what's happening in the Middle East.
Actually, I seen you sent me that, but I didn't get a chance to view it. I'm about to view it right now.
Yeah, so basically what happened was, you know, you have everybody know that when you have a game, if you're a star or even when you're not a star, they're going to go ahead and talk to you and ask you questions about the game. They're going to ask you questions about, you know, what you feel about what's going on in the NBA or NFL, whatever it is, you know, especially if you're a superstar. Something that, you know, you had Marshawn Lynch, you know, not happy about a few years back. You know, they asked him a question and he doesn't answer the question. He just says something, but it doesn't pertain to what the question was asked.
Yeah, I'm just doing this so I don't get fined.
Yeah, I'm just doing this so I don't get fined. So same thing with Kyrie Irving. They're talking about the NBA, and he's basically making journalists do their job. You feel me? There's a lot of things that's happening in the world that's more important. You know, of course, like I told you guys in a previous podcast, that Kyrie Irving, he transitioned into being a Muslim. You know, now again, You got Christians, you got Catholics, you got Muslims, and you got Jewish individuals. You know, you got other religions also, but there's no time to name every last one of them right now. It's no slack to your religion, whatnot. It's just, you know, what I'm thinking of at right now. And I have no paper in front of me with all the different religions. So don't throw me under the bus. Now, again, so you have things that's happening right now in Palestine and in Israel. You know, some people may say have to deal with race. Some people may say have to deal with religion. Some may say have to deal with politics. Some may say, you know, it have to deal with the land. Some people feel like some people shouldn't be in this land. This is our land, and you stole it from us. You know, whatever reason. You know, I don't have the backstory and everything on that. I know a little bit about that, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and do your own research to go ahead and see what we're actually talking about right now. You know, and you know, Kyrie Irving is, you know, you got the individuals that's talking about what's happening in the game, and Kyrie Irving's like, you know, like there's more important things that's happening in the world right now in Palestine and Israel, the conflict. You got little kids dying, families dying, you know, this, that, and the other, which I feel like, you know, if you're the NBA and other platforms, this, that, and the other, you should be talking about anyway. You know, why does it have to take someone to actually force you to ask those questions? You know, but you need to go ahead and check that video, guys. You know, and make your own rational decision on what he was Kyrie Irving was actually stating, because I think it's valid. You know, we all live in the United States or live in whatever country that we live in, and sometimes, you know, we thinking about stuff that really doesn't mean anything. Yeah, you know, we want our team to win, but who cares about that when you have someone dying in another country? You know, when you have, you know, slavery, when you have, you know, injustice, when you have all these different things in the world. Yeah, like, you know, we loyal. Look at the background. But again, there's some conversations, and of course, you know, on this podcast, we definitely don't like talking politics, but sometimes we have to talk politics because that's what is happening in the world. You know, we try to keep it as, you know, honest as possible because, you know, we hate liars on this show. But definitely, we definitely like you guys to go ahead and do your own research also. You know, don't listen to what we're saying or what another podcast or what the news is saying. Do your own research. You know, God gave us a brain. You know, he definitely gave me this heat halo over my head, and you want to go ahead and use that. You want to go ahead and use the brain that God gave us, and yes, definitely. So I do love how he transitioned into NBA to speak about what's really important in the actual world.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that. I didn't get a chance to view that message you sent, but I'm going to look at it as soon as this podcast is over. But I love the fact that he used this platform to really kind of talk about real issues that's going on in life, because we all love sports. You know, if you're listening to this podcast, and you likely love sports as much as we do, and sports is great, but on the grand scheme of things, very small. You know, they're very small as far as how it's affecting the world. Now, people like Kyrie Irving can use their platforms to spark change or spark a debate, or to be the catalyst of something greater, which is great. I love the fact that he does that, and he did that. Now, journalists like myself, we usually have like a certain angle that we are trying to write about. Like when we're watching a game, we already have the angle that we are going to write about as the game is going on. Now, maybe if there's a last second shot or there's some kind of crazy fight at the end, that may change the angle that you're going to write about. But for the most part, when you're in these press conferences and journalists like myself are asking questions, you're trying to get a certain answer for your story.
Exactly.
And when you don't get the answer that you get, that you want, it could go one or two ways. You're gonna be like, great, I'm not gonna use that. Or you can be like, okay, well, that's interesting. I'm gonna put that in my story because that's something people need to know about. So journalists really kind of are the authors of what we see and how we kind of view certain things. Now, you, the reader, or you, the viewer, have your own perspective on what they're saying because it's really just their perspective on what they saw or how they see things turned out. But yeah, I mean, to go back with what Kyrie Irving was saying, I love the fact that people are taking their platforms. I love the fact that Colin Kaepernick used his platform, that LeBron James uses his platform to say things that really affect the world, because sports is great, like I said, and it's a multi-billion dollar industry, obviously. And there's so many eyes that watch sports. But at the same time, these are just games, these are just games. And this is just a job for these athletes. Now, they put their heart and soul into it. And as a fan, and as fans, sometimes we take that too seriously. I think, like, a lot of people, a lot of fans last year with the NBA, a certain demographic, let's just say, was decided that they're not going to watch the NBA because it says Black Lives Matter all the time. And these players are always talking about political change. And after every interview, somebody's saying something about George Floyd or, just the injustice that's in the country. And for that reason, people said, hey, I'm not going to even watch sports, which is despicable to me because, one, like, these athletes have every right to say what they want to say. And then two, for you to say, oh, they have to just keep their mouth closed is disrespectful. And it's borderline, racist and stereotypical and prejudice and all of that. So anybody who looks down upon a person like Kyrie for him speaking out, I throw the middle finger at you and I say F you, because come on, like, people in the country that he's talking about are going through real life stuff where they could die, or they fear for their lives, or they don't know when their next meal is coming from. And that is in a lot of countries, and more eyeballs and ears need to be focused on that and less on, the little things like a jump shot or a rebound, which is really small in the grand scheme of things. And the next topic in the MarcWes Sports Podcast, we did want to touch on the Clippers and the Mavs. They are going to a game 7, as a result of last night. We talked about Kawhi dropping, I think it was 49 or whatever he dropped last night. Buckets. So it's a fun series to watch because it's actually the first series in NBA history that the road team has won every game in that series. In that series, the road team has won every game. And game 7, where's it at? It's in LA. So that means Dallas is, of course, the road team. And Luka Doncic, if you don't know about Luka Doncic, he's one of the up and coming, young players in the league. I think he's still under 23, I believe. So he could be maybe 22 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I think he is, part of that new class of NBA player. But with that series, I do want to talk about, and we kind of talked about this before with Kawhi possibly leaving and coming to the Miami Heat, is how much of a failure would it be for the Clippers if they lose, man? Like, because they were supposed to be this team that competed with the Lakers last year. They were saying, oh, it's the Clippers and the Lakers, Clippers and the Lakers. And then, they, were eliminated in the second round, I believe, last season. And then this round, it's almost like they're kind of the same team. You got Kawhi, you got Paul George, who is consistent. Yeah, George Paul. That sounds like he was a rock star in the 80s. George Paul, or he's the extra for the Beatles or something like that. George Paul. But he is not the guy. He is not that guy. Just like how we reversed his name, he reversed his career. To me, I feel like he peaked at maybe and when he first got to OKC, and then all of a sudden he kind of disappeared off the face of the map as far as a great player. And Paul George actually is the main one who had critical turnovers in the game previous, in game 5. And then last night it was all about Kawhi. It was, I mean, Paul George really didn't do as much, definitely not as much as Kawhi did. So I don't think Kawhi can really carry this team to a championship like he did with Toronto, because Toronto just had better pieces around him that year. And thankfully for Kawhi, Clay and Kevin Durant were not playing in that finals. And, you know, that's the only reason why I feel they won those finals.
Okay.
And yeah, I think it's just terrible for the Clippers. And then ironically, they say, okay, well, you know, maybe it's the coach, so they get rid of Doc Rivers. Or maybe it's Chris Paul. They got rid of Chris Paul. Maybe it's Blake Griffin. They got rid of Blake Griffin. At some point, you got to be like, maybe it's you, you know, maybe it's you, because the Clippers, obviously, before Chris Paul era, they were the perennial worst team in the league. Like every year, like most people probably never even heard of the Clippers at all. Like, oh, there's another team in LA, you know, like before Chris Paul and them and DeAndre Jordan, they were doing Lob City over there. No one knew who this team really was.
Exactly.
So they tried to the Bomber, I think is his name. I think he used to work for Microsoft as the owner, who took over from that other racist owner that they had before. Is thinks he can be like the next Mark Cuban and put together a team and win a championship, but I don't see it happening at all. And once they lose this time, it's gonna be the same story. It's like, who you gonna get rid of now? Because Kawhi likely is probably gonna leave. You're gonna be left with Paul George, and obviously is not enough. It's not gonna seem like a destination to really go to. And if I'm a superstar player and I want to go to LA, I'm gonna play with the Lakers, not the Clippers.
Yeah, of course. But you know,
it's gonna be curtains for the Clippers.
For me, it's come ça. You know, I really feel like this series is done. Like you said, you know, the road team been winning, you know, consistently in this actual series. So I feel like, you know, they're gonna go back and they're gonna shove it in George Paul's face, and they're gonna force Kawhi Leonard to come to the Miami Heat. You know, hopefully this halo that's over my head happens.
I can't unsee that halo, by the way. I can't unsee it. I'm
so yeah. You know, I really do feel like it's really gonna be a close game. We do know that the owner is a demanding man. You know, I think he's one of the richest owners in the NBA. You know, so you know, when you're rich, you want certain things, you know, and you want results. You know, again, like what Marcus was just stating. I mean, you said, you know, they said it was CP3. They got rid of him, and he's the one leading the Phoenix Suns, you know, past King James. You have them saying that it's Klay Thompson. Where is Klay Thompson? He's in a team right now that probably is going to go to the finals, you know, unless the Milwaukee Bucks eliminate them. You know, you're saying that it's Doc Rivers, even though I think it was Doc Rivers also, because Doc Rivers is not a great coach for me. You know, I'm always going to say that you're a good coach. You're not a great coach, you know, and that has, and you're black just like me. So I should be one to salute you, just the plain fact that you're a black coach and been in the league for a certain period of time. No, I don't really think you're a great coach. I really think that Spoelstra is a better coach than you, because I see him make changes in the game that you do not do. You are just lucky to have superstars on your team. When Paul George, when it was not just Paul George, but Paul Pierce and you Antoine Walker and a few other guys, you didn't do anything. You couldn't make it past the East. You know, when you went to LA Clippers, same thing. Now you're on your next team. So I do not care about this, that, and the other. Now, again, as far as with the Clippers, they don't have no leader. I do really think that they're going to leave. You've seen how Rondo was actually, you know, he was giving Kawhi the business. Like, he was giving him some slack, you know. And how can you, someone that just came on the team, give Kawhi Leonard that type of slack? Because I mean, I know he's the one that I think, paid the most on that team. He's the one that the fans expect more from on that team. The fans and the media expect more from Kawhi than George Paul. But again, regardless of the fact, Rondo, I know you're a championship Hall of Famer. You know the game. I think really in the future you're probably gonna be a head coach somewhere, you know. But I didn't understand how you was going ahead and doing that. And if you was gonna do that, do it not on TV. You know what I'm saying? We all know that Kawhi is a great player, but he's not a leader. It just shows more that he's not a leader and why he need to be with Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat, you know, because we're not gonna go ahead and do that, you know. And for me, it just was like, I'm thinking, all right, you get eliminated. I know Rondo's gonna talk shit some more, and hopefully you talk shit some more to Kawhi, so Kawhi can say, fuck it. I'm going to South Beach and bringing my talents over there because, yeah, I know California has the weather, but it doesn't have the Miami weather. California have the beach, but y'all water is cold when you go in the water. When you come into Miami's water, it's nice and warm. It's ready to go for you, you know? And again, same thing when it comes to the women. Our women, I think, are better than the women's in California. You know, we're not Hollywood. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like we're Hollywood, but we're not Hollywood. It's different. You know what I'm saying? So you could get everything that you want in California, in Miami. It's always better when you make some money. You don't want to stay at the crib. You're back at the crib right now, and I'm pretty sure you have a lot more problems right now because everybody's calling Kawhi. I need some money. Oh, yeah. You feel me? Like, come on. And that's state tax. We have no state tax over here. You're about to end your career. Why not end it over here in Miami? Keep majority of the money. Keep $6-7 million in your pocket. Because, again, if you get paid $150 million, they're going to take like 30. They're going to take like 30 of that. You might as well come over here, enjoy the weather. It doesn't get cold in Miami. If it get cold, it's for like a day. You know, someone that has a quad injury, you can help Oladipo. You can help Oladipo in how to maintenance that. You could come to Miami and not have to worry about your thing flaring up because it's getting cold right now. You know, so perfect thing for the Clippers. I really do think Luka is like one of the greatest point guards of all time because
you said Luka was the greatest point guards of all time?
Yeah, because his whole way of thinking. You got Jason Kidd. You have all these different people that I think that they know the game just like him, but they move a little faster than him. The same thing I say with Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero, if you were slow down, you will be better. Luka is the slowest shooter, slowest move guy, and he's always. Yes, he's bigger. Yeah, he's bigger. He is bigger, you know. Yeah. But still, you know, I mean, like, I feel like he's like, he know his limits and he key in on them. And then he basically make his limits be your limits because like he's gonna take his time and he's gonna score on you. And you may be a better player than him, a better defender than him. But he finds a way. Same like LeBron James always find a way, not this year, but those players are come a dime a dozen because you're gonna have players that can shoot. You're gonna have it's just some players for him is just like it's either he's lucky or his whole way of maneuvering on that on the board is just a little different than the average NBA player. So I really gotta give him that. And he's young. I know when I say greatest, one of the greatest, not the greatest, one of the greatest of all times, you got to put him up there. And wow. Because these players, like the Magics, like the Jason Kidds, because remember Jason Kidd got his shot later. He didn't know how to shoot the three. You have Steph Curry. Steph Curry is one of the greatest shooters of all time. But I think like Luka got the body, like what you're saying. Luka got the, so again, like, and he got a supporting cast. He got the Hardaway, which I think he should come to Miami too and help your dad's legacy again, because once he said that stuff about people that like the same people, like the same sex, he disappeared on the market. You know, so you want to fix his name, huh? Like fix his name down here, huh?
You mean gay people? He said people that like the same people.
Yeah, I gotta try to be politically correct. It is what it is. But again, there's a lot of people that feel the same way. They just don't have that stage. And he had that stage early. This is, I think, before like Instagram. I think. And he's like Zoe, man. He used to always. You see how you got Karan Butler coaching and Juwan Howard when he was on the Heat coaching on our staff. He was one of those individuals, and when he made that comment, like everybody turned their back on him, and I feel like we live in a society where we tell people that we give you second chances, but we don't give you second chances. I think he deserves a second chance, and I think if your son is playing in Miami, the perfect place, you're going to be in, of course you're going to be in the crowd. Of course, you're going to probably be behind the bench or something like that because you have some type of ties to the organization. Of course, we know the organization did what they had to do. Of course, PC. But you're one of the greatest Heat players of all times. On top. So I think you could redeem yourself over here with Tim Hardaway coming over here. But that's jumping off the topic again because I'm loyal over here. I gotta always give it to the halo. You see that flame? You feel what I mean? Like I got, it's gonna be loyalty over here. But yeah, I really do think this series gonna go ahead and be a good series. It's Game 7. But I really want
Sunday at 3, I think.
And it's early. Perfect time to lose. You feel what I mean? Right after people go to church, they come out and they see them lose and make us feel good. So that's what I really feel should happen on that platform. With the Mavs and the Clippers, I really do think the Clippers and the Mavs going to give us a game, but I really want the Mavericks to actually win because, again, I'm thinking about the loyalty with the Miami Heat. Kawhi, you need to come over here.
I mean, I like Luka, but I wouldn't put him in the best point guards of all time yet. I mean, he could maybe be top 25 all time, maybe right now. There's a bunch of point guards I put in front of him right now. He's young. He's only
think about it.
What, 3 years in the league so far.
But think about all the other point guards. Think about all the other. But think about all the other point guards, Marcus. Think about all of point guards that came into the league and they didn't have that same impact that he had. Let's just say that he had the same career every year for the rest of his career. Yeah, you would have to put him in top 5. It wouldn't even be top 25. It'll be top 5.
That's a big if because people were saying that about Derrick Rose too when he started out. So, and I wouldn't put Derrick Rose in the best point guard of all time right now. So we'll see. The jury's still out on Luka. And we'll transition to the next topic, which is just talking about LeBron because he said something about he is not gonna play in the Olympics and he's gonna get ready to play with Bugs Bunny. Kind of a side joke for his movie coming out with Space Jam, which is it's funny because like LeBron, I feel like is ready to transition into that next part of his life, which is basically one being a producer for continue to be a producer, maybe doing some more acting. He's part owner of a soccer team in England, Liverpool. So he's all about, building that up as well. He's already living in LA, and the next transition is LeBron, because LeBron, like I said before in the previous podcast, can play, man. Like he can play. Like he's not just LeBron James Jr. He can play and he's still very young. So he's got so much to really grow as a basketball player. But from what I've seen as a 16-year-old, I believe is what he is now. I'm like, wow. So he's going to definitely be, I think, the focus for LeBron going forward. But it's just funny that LeBron James said he's going to play with Bugs Bunny as if like he's got better things to do than practice for basketball or prepare for the next season, which is another reason why I just can't stand LeBron lames. I'm gonna call him LeBron lames. instead of LeBron James, because everything that comes out of this dude's mouth, I'm just like, shut the F up, man. Nobody cares. Like, we understand you're the biggest basketball superstar for the past 10, 15 years. We get that. We understand. Like, anybody who doesn't even know basketball, you say LeBron James, they gonna know who you're talking about. You don't need to say, hey, I'm gonna go play with Bugs Bunny. That shit wasn't funny. And like, you just trying to bring some more attention to yourselves and trying to downplay the fact that you just lost in the first round, you know? But it is what it is. Typical LeBron, and I'm not surprised he said it.
See, but me, I'm I agree with
You
you
back on
saying.
LeBron again? You sound like you gonna say
No, no,
something
no, no, no,
in
no,
favor of
no.
LeBron.
Because I'm gonna piggyback off what you're saying as far as like LeBron always, trying to deflect that attention from himself losing. And because you remember when he lost the first time he came with the big three in Miami and he lost, what did he say when he was on that same stage when they was asking him, I'm gonna go back to my house and making this money and this, that, and the other. You're gonna still have to wake up and go to work and still deal with that miserable life that you have. Yeah, I understand. This one at this particular time, I'm not really too salty on him saying that because, we both do agree that it was a run on season, meaning we didn't really have that time to, really get back to our normal self, especially LeBron James and the Miami Heat. As far as we made it to the finals. So we definitely didn't have that rest that other teams had, but like, why not promote my Space Jam movie? You know what I'm saying? Like, Marcus, if you would have lost, what you would have did? You probably would have did the same thing. You know that your movie coming out in like a month. Why not give it more publicity? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day,
no more publicity. Everybody knows Space Jam coming out. Everybody knows coming out.
See, but again, don't you like free publicity? You got the NBA right there. You got millions of people watching me right now, happy that I lost. They watching. So why not say I'm gonna be with Bugs vibing? And again, I understand, because trust me, I do know how LeBron likes to deflect, but I probably would have done the same thing. Chilled. I would have been like, yo, Wes coming out with the Westradamus movie or whatever like that, and those people that didn't know about it, because a lot of people don't even watch TV, like they gonna watch their show and call it a day, like, so those people that just like LeBron James or those people that hate LeBron James, they're watching that on that stage. See, it's just like the versus battle that just happened with Timberland and Swizz Beatz. I didn't even know it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like you would think that people know it's gonna happen, but again, you know what they say: when you assume, you make an ass out of yourself. So LeBron James, being the businessman, that he is, a good businessman at that, because he's doing his thing. I think he's a better businessman than MJ. I think he got MJ on that.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about that.
But again, it's just like, yo, if I could add another 50 million or another 10 million just off having this comment, because have you really been seeing the Space Jam commercial on TV? No. Really, like, for real, have you really been seeing the Space Jam commercial on TV? No. The only time I seen it was when it first came out, and I've never seen it on TV. I seen it on social media.
It's coming though. You're gonna see it like at night.
Yeah, we know it's coming. We know it's coming. But where did you see it? I seen it on social media. I never seen a commercial on TV. Not on TNT when they're playing in the playoffs. Not in a regular day when I'm watching whatever show I'm watching. So LeBron James is doing a smart thing right now. Why not promote it and give you millions and millions and millions of dollars of promotion right now? They're not gonna change it. They're gonna sit there and watch him speak. They're going to do that.
I mean, I get it. I understand it's a good business move, but it still rubs me the wrong way about LeBron and
But you
like
would have did it
taking it out
too.
of
You
hand.
would have
No,
did it
I
too.
wouldn't have did it. I'm LeBron James. I'm LeBron James. If you know that Space Jam is coming out, it's really just I wouldn't have did it. Like
See, but
I
now for
don't
real,
have
Marcus,
to.
Marcus.
I don't have to promote a movie that I know is going to like
How,
me saying that adds how many more dollars to my pocket? Not a
one dollar,
lot.
$1 is better than no dollars. But think
I
about
mean,
it,
I
Marcus.
guess,
Like
but
for real.
LeBron is like he's a billionaire. Oh, I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he's probably close to that. You
See, but
know,
still, Marcus, if you like I said, if you think about, like I said, the only time we really actually seen it was on social media. You never seen it on TV. So you know that they're going on what you're saying right now. People gonna buy it anyway. Why not use the free promotion if you can?
I mean, I get it. Like I said, I understand the strategy, but it still doesn't make me like you anymore. It makes
Oh,
me
no,
feel
no,
like
no. You
you
know, come on, man. We
are
both agree. We don't like
are
LeBron.
yeah,
You know?
you're still an a-hole. As far as you're not necessarily an a-hole, you're just a douche to me. You know, you're really just,
But
a dude.
worse.
Yeah, you're just one of those dudes I would not hang out with. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he is a cool dude behind closed doors, but how he portrays himself to the public and to the media. Now I love what he's doing with the school and whatnot, and he's always about social justice and all that. I appreciate all of that, LeBron. That I'm with you 100%. But it's just okay, we get it, we get you're this great player, we get all of that, we understand, we know that Space Jam is coming out. People like myself still have, kind of still feel some kind of way that you're coming out with a movie like Space Jam to try to say you are better than MJ, who had the
Wait, wait, wait,
original.
wait, wait. Not to cut you off, but I heard that MJ is gonna be in it. He's gonna have a cameo in it.
Well, I'm glad. I hope he does that. That'd be cool. I like cameos, especially if it's from the previous version of the movie. But still, I just feel like his whole career, he's been trying to prove himself as the next MJ or the person that is better than MJ. And I don't like that shit. I just don't like it, man. And there's nothing that LeBron could do to make me like him. I didn't really like him before he came to the Heat, to be honest. I didn't really like him as a person. He's just not a likable dude for me. But when he came to the Heat, you already know it's loyalty all day. I was rooting for LeBron James as much as anybody else. But yeah, LeBron James, I am anticipating you disappearing, and I can't wait to not having to. I mean, these debates are fun because I ain't gonna lie, there's a lot of great stuff we could talk about, and because you said something about Space Jam, we got some more time to talk about you on our podcast. Our very first podcast, we were talking about LeBron James,
Yep.
because of the tomfoolery that comes out of his mouth. But it is what it is, and I'm gonna be watching Space Jam anyway, so it is.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it too. Um, Hopefully it's like I'm not sure if you've seen I think they had a new Chucky that came out, and it was Chucky, but they didn't piggyback off the old. They made like their own, which was good. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully it's like that, you're not, it's it say Space Jam 2, but it's not really Space Jam 2 because it really has nothing to do with the old Space Jam. So hopefully it's like that, but again, I would have probably done the same thing LeBron James did. Free promotion. If I could go ahead and do it and make some more money and put some more money on my kids' books, because I'm rich, I'm a multi-millionaire. It is what it is. But if I could create more generational wealth for my kids, for their kids, for their kids' kids, then hey, it
Yeah.
is what it is. If it takes me like 2 minutes to just go ahead and do that to make some more money, I'm gonna do that. I'm not even gonna question it. I do feel Marcus because LeBron James always try to find a way to deflect off of his losses and his shortcomings. But in this particular one, I probably would have done the same thing. Now,
I wanted to ask this question real quick. Not sure what the next topic we had on deck was, but I put this on social media on my story because SportsCenter did it, and it asked who is the most clutch player of all time in all of sports. And clutch, like in the moment, in the biggest moment, they come through in the clutch. And some people were responding back to my story. Some people were saying Tom Brady.
I'm about to say the
Some
same
people
thing.
were saying MJ. As far as clutch is concerned, I mean, it was Kobe as well in there. So I'll ask that question to you, Wes. In all of sports, who is the most clutch player of all time? And clutch, just to explain, is really just making a big shot or making a big play in a championship type of moment.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with Tom Shady. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy, he has 7 rings? 6 or 7?
He's got 7.
Like, yo, like
got one more than MJ.
Yeah, he got more than MJ. He got more than any other person that I know in sports. So I'm gonna have to go with him. Now let me switch it up a little bit. If we're going on categories, you feel me? NBA, NFL. Like if you going NFL, Tom Brady. If we're going on NBA, I'm gonna go with Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is more clutch, and hit more and has hit more clutch shots than MJ, Kobe, and LeBron. I had seen something, that's why I'm saying this. You feel me? That's why I'm so confident in what I'm saying right now. Other people probably like, well, what do you? Nah, for real, yeah. They did this
I'll have to look that up, but okay.
Yeah, look it up. They said Dwayne Wade was the most clutch when it came to, game-winning shots, when it came to that moment. I think the crazy thing is they even had LeBron James up there, and we know LeBron James is definitely not clutch when it comes to certain things, but I think the times changed the last maybe 4 years. I think LeBron James was like, like second or third, and I'm like, what? I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you hitting more clutch shots than MJ? You hitting more clutch shots than Kobe? That's impossible. But they put the stats up there, and I was like, oh, okay. So right now, NBA, I'm gonna go with Wade. I would definitely go with Jordan, and then Kobe, and then LeBron. But the stats say Wade, LeBron, then Jordan, then Kobe. That's what the stats say. Not my stats, what I have seen. But hey, it is what it is. I may be wrong, or it may have changed. But I think that clutch in that moment, D Wade. NBA, for all the sports, Tom Shady.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate the fact that you said Tom Shady, but yeah, for me it's MJ. It's Michael Jordan. Just because he was so dependent upon to make the shot, and you knew he was going to take the shot. Everybody in the arena and watching on TV knew he was going to take the shot, and he still took the shot, and most of the time
made the shot.
Made it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with MJ. I'm looking at actually a list right now that says MJ 1, Kobe 2, but this is based on a lot of different things. They had Larry Bird 3, LeBron James 4, and Magic Johnson 5. And then I seen something else that said who had the most game-winning buzzer-beating shots in NBA history.
Yeah.
You're not gonna guess who that is.
LeBron.
But take a guess.
LeBron.
Fucking Paul Pierce, bro.
Paul Pierce?
Yeah, it says Paul Pierce has the most game-winning buzzer beaters. So as in, you shoot the ball and the buzzer is going off to win the game. And then LeBron is actually second on that list.
Yeah, that's what. How Paul Pierce was first? They had
I don't know. This was on Sportskeeda.
Well, Dame Lillard must be up there too, because he sent people to the crib all the time and waved by while it's still in the air.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I scratch all of that. Scratch all of that. I was looking at it backwards.
Okay.
So Paul Pierce is actually number 5 on that list. As far as buzzer beaters. LeBron James is number 4. He has 7. They both had 7, by the way. And then it's crazy. This number 3, Joe Johnson, bro. Remember Joe Johnson? JJ?
Oh yeah, he played for the Heat too.
Yeah, eight buzzer beaters. And then after that, Kobe at 2, 8 buzzer beaters. And then MJ with 9.
So where's Wade? I don't know what the hell I was seeing.
On here. I mean, he probably made clutch shots, but it probably just wasn't at the actual buzzer. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So that's probably just the difference in the stats. But yeah, that's why I just go MJ, because everybody knew he was getting the ball, and he more times than not got the ball in the basket and delivered. So to me, he's the best clutch player of all time. Now, when it comes to the NFL, it's hard to say NFL because I don't want to say Tom Brady. I don't want to say Tom Shady, but I'm going to go Joe Montana. Joe Montana. Okay. Joe Montana, you know, is to me probably the best clutch player when it comes to the NFL. Joe Montana. Joe Montana.
From Waterboy.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Joe Montana, you know, as far as a clutch player. And the other topic we wanted to talk about was, of course, the fight that's going on here in the stadium in my background, Hard Rock Stadium. We're going to have a boxing match on a Sunday night, which is weird. Like, I don't remember the last time there was a boxing match on a Sunday night. But so Sunday night, prime time, we're going to have Logan Paul, the YouTube boxer, YouTube sensation, one of the Paul brothers, you know. Wait, is he related to George Paul? Like, now I'm thinking about it. Are they related? George Paul, Logan Paul, and Jake Paul. Maybe he's the third brother. I don't know. But he will be fighting Money Mayweather. There's only one Mayweather. He is going to be fighting, coming out of retirement, to go 51. I mean, technically it's going to be an exhibition, so he's not going to be 51-0. But if he loses, though, it's forever going to tarnish his legacy, Mayweather, if he loses.
Yeah, definitely.
I do not see happening. I don't think anybody sees it happening. I don't think anybody saw Mayweather losing his last 3-4 fights. I think it was more so, can the unthinkable happen? And could he be knocked out or just beat? And these Paul brothers have they're looking like the geniuses in boxing right now.
They are.
They're looking like these promotional geniuses, because the fact that Logan Paul is able to get one of the best boxers of all time to come out of retirement to possibly blemish his perfect record in boxing is just, it's big news, man. It's big news, and it's going to have people like us and millions across the world watching on Sunday night, just to see either how long is it going to take for Mayweather to knock this guy out? Can Logan Paul actually hang around and maybe you know, I don't know, knock him out or get to the end of the fight? Can he get to the end of the fight? It's basically what I'm going to be watching for. And it's genius marketing by the Paul brothers. The fact that they got this fight, and then now Jake Paul is going to be fighting Tyron Woodley. Now, Tyron Woodley is a legit UFC fighter. Tyron Woodley is probably a little bit past his prime at this point, but at this point, Tyron Woodley was one of the best of his class, just fighting, and he can box. You know, it's not like he's a wrestler, grappler type of guy. He's a guy who can stand up and box with you. So Tyron Woodley already came out and said he's gonna finally end this Jake Paul's run. He can't wait to end it and really kind of stop the hype with Jake Paul. But anyway, that's another story for a different podcast. We're gonna talk about Logan Paul and Mayweather since it's coming up tomorrow night. So just for me kind of teeing it up like that, Wes, what do you think is gonna happen Sunday night?
I think what's going to happen is what Mayweather always do: win. He's going to go ahead and collect the bag. I think I read that he already made. No matter of fact, it's not what I read; it's what came out his mouth. I heard it before we actually started recording. He said he already made $30 million just off promotions.
Wow.
Mayweather alone, $30 million already secured the bag, and they say after the fight he's probably going to get $100 million. Like, wow. Like Mayweather, I know Jake Paul.
That's win or lose.
Win or lose, but we already know it's a win. And I'm pretty sure Jake Paul is not getting the same amount. He's probably getting probably 20 million, 30 million. Why? Because the only reason now you would probably even get some type of money like this is because Mayweather is drawing the attention. People, people care about you because you talk shit. Mayweather talks shit too, but he's done it. He's pound for pound the greatest boxer of all time, if somebody want to say it. And if they want to go ahead and renege and say that's bullshit, then he's gonna be look at my fucking record. I'm 50-0, motherfucker. This is what I do. So again, I really think that Mayweather's gonna go in, do his thing. They're gonna give us a show. Logan Paul is not gonna get knocked out. That's not what Mayweather does. But that's what I really want Mayweather to actually do.
Yeah, he might.
Mayweather, he might, because of course you got someone I still consider him an amateur boxer. Like someone that just recently started. Yeah, you knocked out Nate Robinson, or if it was your brother, whichever one.
Yeah, that was his brother.
Whichever one. Both you guys are new to the actual game. It's like putting yourself in the fire with Mike Tyson. You're gonna get knocked out. It doesn't matter. He can be 50, 60 years old, but you still have that in you, and especially if you still got a little bit of quickness. And Mayweather is not that far removed from the actual boxing world. You see, he just won not too long ago, and I think he won 300 million off of that actual fight. So I think right now it's just something for show right now. Mayweather is not even thinking about this fight. I'm just going to go ahead and make more money. He's just kind of thinking about LeBron James. Yeah, I'm a multi-millionaire, close to $1 billion, whatever. I'm a billionaire or a multi-millionaire, close to being a billionaire. Same like LeBron James. But if I can go ahead and generate more money, generational wealth for my kids, and Yaya, his kids, his daughter, she does dumb shit. Look, she just had a kid from NBA YoungBoy that has another 7, 8 baby mamas. So so again, you want to make sure that that child is taken care of, because his mom Yaya doesn't think correctly. Look what she just did. So again, build generational wealth. Whoop Logan Paul. I think right now, that would kind of put Mayweather in a positive light with a lot of people, because a lot of people hate Logan Paul. I know they hate Mayweather, but they hate Logan Paul. So everybody be like, man, I just want to see somebody just knock his ass out. That's what I be hearing. You feel what I'm saying? So if Mayweather can provide that hate and that visceral that everybody be giving him about, the money team, and you don't have to buy all this jewelry and floss it and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Me, I'm the type of person I could care less what somebody do with their own money that they made on their own, So I'm just looking at it like, look, Mayweather, you knock him out, there's a lot of people that hated you that will probably love you now, So, let that be the last fight, and then retire completely, Yeah. But that's what I really do think is going to happen. I think he's going to go ahead, go in, and not even much as that. Think about the interviews or when they have both of them facing each other. Mayweather is always I'm serious. Logan Paul is the one that's always joking. I mean, It is what it is. Mayweather's about to bag and I'm about to whoop your ass. So It
See,
is what it is.
the thing about boxing though, man, is like boxing is like probably the most fixed sport, right? Like as far as like you never know what could really happen. It's boxing, right? Because the better fighter can beat you and they just say it's a draw. Or there could be some other fix with the boxer where it's like, oh, under the table, hey, if you take a loss, we'll give you more bread. So I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but if somehow Logan Paul wins this fight, I think it's a total conspiracy theory. I think it's a total like under the radar bag that's being thrown to Mayweather just to take the L if he did. But I don't think it's gonna happen, But like if it did somehow, Karen, like if that happened, immediately I'm saying it's fixed, it's rigged, it's not real, it's WWF type stuff. That's what I'm saying, because basically that's what this is now. It's like WWF, before the fight, there's all this hype, and there's usually a good guy, bad guy. But the thing about this fight though, it's like who's the bad guy and who's the good guy? Because like both of them not really overly liked. And Mayweather is one of the greatest of all time, but he's not really overly liked. He's not revered as this guy that people really like, because he does like what you alluded to do. He spends frivolously with his money, which I'm the same way as you. As like you do what you want with your money, you earned it. You did what you have buku bread. Like you have ridiculous amount of bread. I mean, yeah, I've seen him. He's got like gold silverware. Like, do you really need gold silverware? But whatever. If you have gold silverware and you got it, whatever. I mean, that's you.
You got it to do it.
Exactly. So, I mean, I guess you could call that golderware instead of silverware. What I did there. but yeah, it's like do what you want with your money. But like, I feel like this is definitely WWF. I still love it. The fact that you bring in you bring in eyes to boxing, but at the same time, it's almost like you taking away the credibility a little bit. You know what I'm saying? To guys like Terrence Crawford or Tio Lopez or Errol Spence, who are really in the trenches doing it big.
I agree.
You kind of making it like a show, like a type of thing instead of like an actual sport.
He's basically showing them how to get the bag. All this, just boxing and letting the money come. No, go get the bag. That's what he's actually doing. He's showing these professional boxers and older guys. Look, he done put Mike Tyson on point. Mike Tyson done made some money following that same lead that he wind up doing. Now he's about to make Mayweather some money. And Mayweather is somebody that promotes and does everything already legit, But again, at the end of the day, you got Holyfield trying to come out of retirement. You got all these people. So again, it's a bad thing and it's a good thing. It's a good thing because, he's showing these people how to collect the bag, especially right now. You have these older players that probably don't even have social media. Why? Get the social media. Make this money. Use your name. I mean, you still alive. Absolutely. Go ahead and do your thing. But me personally, I think hopefully well, not say hopefully, but forget that. Hopefully the fix is in, and the fix is for Mayweather to win, because I do not want to see one of our greatest Black figures undefeated to his record to be blemished because of that. Because again, you seen on Coming to America, who the greatest? Rocky Marciano. Yeah, I was gonna go to Rocky Marciano. You know what I'm saying? We can always go back to Mayweather for being undefeated, the greatest pound for pound of all time. You lose to somebody that's a gimmick, it's gonna be a problem. So hey, it is what it is. That's all I got to say on that topic. And we're gonna go ahead and transition into the Benjamin report.
All right, I like how you teed that up. All right, so the Benjamin report really going to focus on the camps and the visits, that's happening, because this week it finally opened up and players are really starting to visit campuses. the Canes had a lot of great players, top players visit the campus this week. They had a little barbecue from what I know. Brandon Ennis was there, and a lot of the Central boys was there. And another player, Nigel Lee Kelly, who is a player I wanted to talk about, who I think can be a 5-star type of defensive end out of Dillard High School.
Okay.
In Fort Lauderdale. He is a player that typically, when you have a good player on a team like Dillard, because Dillard hasn't been good for the last 20 years, like really legitimately good, they usually go and transfer to one of the big schools like a St. Thomas or American Heritage. But he stayed loyal to Dillard. Dillard actually lost their coach to death recently because just health complications. He was a great guy. So they had to replace their coach. And I think, the team really kind of came together and said that they were going to stay together, for that previous coach that was there. So Dillard is a contender. I'm going to be releasing a top 10 high schools, going into the fall soon. And Dillard, spoiler alert, is going to be in the top 10. And one of the reasons is this kid, not Nigel Lee Kelly. He is just a beast coming off the edge. He throws offensive linemen to the ground, always constantly in the backfield. And he told me personally that he wasn't doing any camps. But yet and still, he showed up on the University of Miami football's campus this week. So, but he still said he wasn't going to do any camps or anything like that. Camps usually are, these one-on-one drills type of thing, running the 40, that type of thing, that he's not going to do that. He's more going to focus on himself. So he's a player to really kind of look out for, to possibly go to Miami, although he's being recruited by everybody, like all the big names, like, the Alabamas and the Clemsons and whatnot. He's being recruited by those type of teams. But, as we saw before, so was Leonard Taylor last year. So was James Williams last year. And those are 5-star players that ended up committing to the U. So I say they have an outside chance. He was previously committed to Florida State, and he decommitted because he said he wanted to make sure if it was the right choice or whatnot. So maybe there's a possibility, but I don't want to give Hurricanes fans a lot of hope on this kid, but he is a hometown kid, and he is going to get that bag later on in life. I think right now he's rated as a 4-star on 247 Sports. I believe he's a 5-star type player if I was rating him. And I think he's just one of the best defensive players overall in the state of Florida.
Okay.
So another player on that Dillard squad is Devon Mortimer. And this is going to be probably some bad news, Wes. So I just want to prepare you first. He already said he's already committed to Florida State. And I talked to him and he was like, I asked him, are you taking any visits this summer to any different schools? He said, no, not taking any visits except to Florida State. Florida State is the only place that I'm visiting. So I give him props for being loyal, because these high school kids, let's just be real, they ain't loyal. A lot of them are not loyal. I would say the majority of them are not loyal. They'll change their commitment, or they'll say, that they're going with this one team, and then another team steps in, and then they end up going to that other school.
Well, you say his name was Mortimer?
Mortimer, yeah. His last name, Mortimer.
Definitely doesn't want that name in the University of Miami. Go to Florida State.
Yeah, Devon Mortimer, wide receiver. He's a really great playmaker. I talked about him a little bit in one of my Benjamin reports, so you can feel free to look at that. But here's where the culture has shifted though with the Hurricanes. The reason why he committed to Florida State, or he said he liked Florida State ever since he was a small legit, he's still legit, but he said it's because they was balling with Dalvin Cook, and he was a running back before he became a receiver, and he wanted to be like Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, from the crib as well, he went to Miami Central, but the reason why he didn't commit to Miami, allegedly, is because of the It was the golden era. Remember, this was the golden era, which was not an era that was anything but golden. Where the team wasn't doing good. We were kind of on probation. Remember the NCAA was doing us real green during that time, saying that we were on probation, but we was really not, and we weren't getting the recruits because they were like, "Oh, y'all not even gonna play in the bowl game, or y'all not even getting the amount of scholarships that you would normally get, so you're not going to have a full squad." So obviously we was hurt for years. So because of that, he decides, hey, I'm going to ride with Florida State. I like Dalvin Cook. He's in the league, and I'm committing to Florida State. So this is a player who we're going to miss out on, and he's one of the best players in South Florida. So those are just the two nuggets that I have this week with the Benjamin Report, highlighting those two Dillard players. I'll be posting a video with some highlights of Nigel Lee Kelly and my interview with him on the Benjamin Report. So that's it for the MarcWes Sports Podcast. Till the next episode. Peace.